Welcome to the Functioning Griefster, a podcast about grief, love, and the legacy those we've lost still leave behind. I'm Alexandra Spencer, a sports and holistic therapist and a grieving mom to my son Declan, my best friend, my sunshine, my soulmate. Each week I sit down in the back of Dec's van with someone from the club no one ever wants to join. We cry, we laugh, we swear, and we honour their stories, uncovering the powerful bonds that even death just cannot break. There's no script, no rules, just honesty, heart, and a lot of courage. This podcast is part of my one-woman mission to challenge the taboo around grief, especially when someone dies too soon. I don't believe their name should be buried with them. Their voices still echo through us. So if you've ever felt like you were thrown into a cold, dark ocean with no rescue ring in sight, this is the place for you. So grab your life jacket, you're not alone. Today's episode does have graphic details of what happened when a child's TikTok challenge went wrong. If you'd rather not listen to this part of the podcast, please check out the timestamp on the podcast or YouTube video, wherever you're watching or listening to this, so that you can still find out more about Isaac without having to listen to those details, as they could be quite triggering. Hello, Lisa. Welcome to the Functioning Griefster.
Thank you for having me.
Club, we don't want to be in, but
Certainly.
we're here. And we're here today to celebrate the life of your son, Isaac. So can you tell me about Isaac? Tell me who he is.
Well, Isaac, like any parent with a child, they're unique. They're the perfect child. From the moment Isaac was born, he was just a ball of energy, and it was a bit different from having our daughter, because boy and girl, it's just a juxtapose. It's like...
Really? Because obviously I've only had Dex, so
Yeah.
I've not had the girl experience.
Yeah, so Emily would be sitting very nicely doing drawing, colouring, playing dolls and etc. And there'd be Isaac hanging off the door frames, jumping up and down on the sofas, and it's a bit like, it's like a little Tasmanian devil, but not a devil in as such as I'm not behaved, but he was just a delight, from a very early age. He just really was involved in like facts, and he just constantly was like the thirst of knowledge. And we used to have this thing, it's called the random fact of the day, like bounce on your bed. I think he was around about 5, 6. It'll come out the most random thing, like almost like the hottest chili pepper, or the most feminist snake, or like something to do with space. He was just he was just the thirst of knowledge, and he got that from his dad, because his dad's quite intelligent and like knowing about history and like how things worked, and that's like just rubbed off with Isaac. He just really wanted to know how things worked. It was refreshing from a girl to having Isaac, but he was very well loved, liked. He had a very small friendship group, but those friends were like true friends. They were like, he actually called them his bros. They were like only 3 of them, but a really tight knit. And because I suppose he had Emily as a sister, he obviously like took out his boyish stuff, if you like, on having these like 3 boys as his best friends. So, and him and Emily just were like inseparable, like from a young age. Emily used to just really mother him, help like change his nappy, feed
What's the
him.
age difference?
It's about 2 years.
Yeah,
for 2 years. She absolutely doted on him and looked out for him, vice versa. He was just a complete joy.
He sounds a lot like Dec in regards to the Fact Master.
Yeah.
And all the weird and wonderful random things, especially about space.
Yeah.
Because that's why this van is actually space themed, is kind of to honour what Dec loved. So like we've got the little astronaut sticker, which was a tattoo Dec designed and was meant to be having,
Right.
which I've now had on my arm.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got it now.
Oh,
So yeah, I've had that done. So yeah, he was really into space and science and animal facts, just facts in general.
yeah. I
What's
just
a
think.
pub quiz?
Yeah. I mean, we used to play Trivial Pursuit, like the kids' version, and invariably, like in school, like the teacher would say, "Wow, Isaac, I didn't know that you would know that." It's like, you know, he really retained stuff, and like history was a strong subject, and science, but. He loved his sports. He was mainly into football. He liked his rugby because had that chance to get dirty. He loved it, getting in my car. I'm sure on purpose he used to just roll around in the mud and then just get in my car. And it's like, you've done that on purpose. And he's like head to toe covered in mud. He loved his trampolining. He was doing Wing Chun.
What's Wing Chun? Is that?
It's a mixture of martial arts and but because he just likes things that are fast paced because it's quite slow. After a while, I mean, he was really good at it, but after a while, he just thought, "Nah, I need something a bit more exciting." And he really wanted to do boxing, but I didn't want him to do boxing. I didn't want anyone hitting his face.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to. So him and Mark used to always do boxing in the front room. We bought him some pads and some sparring gloves. And they used to just like spar around and I thought, right, now I can deal with that, but I just could not deal with him being in a ring, being hit. I'd be one of those mums, don't hit mine.
I would be. Like you said, that mum at the side of the ring, like, don't hurt my baby. Yeah.
I mean, Emily was really good at karate. She kept that up till she was about 14, I think, really good. And when she used to do competitions, I had to buy her the mouth guard and all the mould, mould it all in. And I just, half the time I couldn't watch. It was, but she was really good at it. Not very often she lost, so. But no, he tried all different sports. But I suppose the one that he really sort of kept at was football. So, which is
What position did he have? Like a prime position that he played?
I used to take him, but I don't know. He used to run around.
So he wasn't in goal.
He wasn't in goal.
You know, he wasn't in goal.
He wasn't in goal. I'm terrible at football. And he went to one of his first football matches. Mark's brother, he had season tickets, and for some reason he couldn't go. And he had the opportunity to take Isaac. And that was his very first football match. And unfortunately, they lost. But it was it was West Ham.
So is that... Who Isaac supports? West Ham?
Yeah, but he used to wind up his dad and say that he supported Man U for a while. Just to, again, this is what Isaac was like. He's just like... like, I don't know, he just had a good sense of humour about him. And if he knew something would fire up a little bit, he would tease you on it. But he loved that football match. And I think it's because there was pies, there was chips.
I'm getting the sense he's quite foodie.
Yeah, but he is skinny as a rake.
Really?
Honestly, we used to say
bouncing around.
Yeah, and say you must have really big toes because where's it all going? You know.
Yeah.
But as he was getting older, because he was one of the smallest in his class, and he's an August baby.
Yeah.
So everyone was shooting up, and Isaac was like, "Oh, I've done some research that time I'm 16, I should be nearly 6 foot." So he was doing making sure because I'm 5'6"-ish. Mark is 5'11", but Mark's granddad was really tall. He was like 6'4". So Isaac was working. Yeah, so Isaac was working it out. But near to when we lost Isaac, he was shooting up. He had long legs, and he was getting there. And we in our cloakroom, well, coats and that are. When we moved in, the previous owners had a little height chart thing marking it all off. And Emily and Isaac, typical competitive. He's like, "I'm catching you up, Emily, I'm catching you up." Yeah, so I can't bear to wipe that down.
No.
That's one of the memories.
So at home, there's yourself, Mark, your husband, Emily, and Isaac. So a little 2.4 children.
Yeah, and the dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the dog, little Charlie.
Yeah, so what breed's Charlie?
He is a Cocker, which is a mixture between a Cavalier and a Cocker Spaniel. She's really chilled. And I think it's because our home is quite chilled as well. Like, it's really fitted into the unit.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't a shouty family. Isaac, who was the most slightest and smallest out of us, was the most heaviest coming down those stairs. Honestly, you could hear, you know, it was him coming down the stairs. It's like a,
Yeah.
you know, like, you're like really
I've been
tiny.
told I'm not, but I'm not tiny. But yeah, heavy-footed going down the
Yeah,
stairs.
yeah. You just knew, yeah, Isaac was coming down the stairs or going up. But yeah. And Isaac really doted on Charlie. Like, they had a really good little bond as well. I've got so many photos of him and Charlie. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. So everything changed though, from it being the four of you and Charlie, just in one afternoon.
Yeah, it was a very ordinary afternoon, you know. Both my children went to school out of area, so I used to take them, pick them up. Never met them at the gates because that's not the thing you do for senior school.
You can't be cool and have your mum pick you up.
Hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to park around the corner, and it was a bit of a running joke that it was who was going to get to the car first to get into the front. It was just, yeah, and you could just see Isaac bombing down the road. And if he didn't get into the front, oh, the face on him was like thunder. And then he would, if he'd won, he would run round to the passenger side, bang on the bonnet, and like get in as quickly as possible. That was his little routine. So this particular day, he was walking quite fast, and Emily got out earlier than him, so she was in the front. So yeah, he had a bit of a face on him.
There.
Yeah, I can see him now. He's got his parka up, like his big fluffy hood, like whoa, like as if like, oh, you know, you've won. So he got back in the car, in the back of the car, and then he was fine. This was March the 8th, 2022. So drove home, having just general chit chats. What you've been doing today? Like, have you got any homework? Just the normal thing. Got home, and then again, Isaac's ritual was get to the snack cupboard, grab a big handful of Doritos, and I just said to him, like, don't eat too much because we're going to do dinner. And then he went running upstairs, just the norm again. And I went up after him because I noticed he had ink all on his hands, and he's quite a fidgety boy. Like, he'd pull pens apart, and yeah, so we used to get him fidget spinners and things like that. And I noticed he had ink on his hands, so I said, like, oh, you know, before dinner, make sure you wash your hands. And it was all over his bed sheets. So I said, oh, whilst I'm getting new bed sheets, hop on my bed, I'll get all this done. So done all that, he went back into his bedroom. And then I went downstairs, started doing dinner. It was around about 5:30ish, something like that. And as you mentioned, like, it sounds like he's a bit of a foodie. So if you call him for dinner, he's down like a shot. So anyway, when I called up for dinner, there was no answer. I thought, oh, that's, you know, not taking any notice, because again, he was a bit of a practical joker. He'd like jump out at you, or like he'd hide round the corner, or yeah, it wasn't unusual. I mean, the amount of times he's come up to me in the kitchen and I'm doing something and he's just gone, ah!
Oh, gosh.
And I
I'm
always,
such a jumpy
yeah, I
person.
am. And like, I'd like, it's, yeah, it needs to be in hysterics. So second time I called him, I'm sort of like halfway up the stairs. And then I noticed that he's not in his bedroom. So noticed the bathroom door was closed. Emily's bedroom is adjacent to the bathroom. So she didn't think anything of it either, because Isaac was quite a private person. If he's going to go to the toilet, he'd always lock the door. You know, that's fine. So that wasn't unusual. So I tapped on the door, went, Isaac, your dinner's ready. And there was no answer. So I thought, yeah, this is not quite right. So I banged again a little bit more aggressively. No answer. And Emily's like, you're all right? I went, no, something's wrong. So I went bombing down the stairs into the garage, got a hammer, went back upstairs and just banged the lock. And then that's where I saw Isaac. He was had a ligature around his neck, and almost for a split second, it's almost like, what are you doing? So stop mucking about, like. And then thinking, Christ, you know, honestly, it was like an out of body experience.
Yeah.
Like I just lifted him up, got him onto the floor. Emily is just like in a daze. The dogs come in thinking like we're mucking about. It's very, very surreal. I couldn't even like speak properly, and Emily just said like I'll call 999. So I'm trying to give Isaac CPR. I thought I got him back because he was violently sick, but later on I found out that's quite a normal like reflux, because obviously he'd eaten all these Doritos. So then I don't know, it's just the most awful feeling. It is completely like I felt like I was looking down on a situation or like a terrible, awful horror movie. And yeah, Emily, bless her, she was just so mature about it. She was relaying me how to do the CPR. I don't know if I was doing it right. I was just like doing anything I could. Before I knew it, the paramedics, Emily let the paramedics in. There were so many of them, all working on him, and they moved me out. And I was in Emily's room, and I saw them like stripping him to get like proper access to him, and all I could see was his feet. And that image is just like blazoned in my head. A lot of images, of course, but just seeing him, and like I could see him moving because they're, you know, trying to get him breathing. So they gave him.
Just take a sec there, Lisa, because what you've just described is heavy for anyone to listen to, let alone for you to have to relive. And I just want you to take a moment, because I think quite often we blurt these things out because it's almost easier to blurt it out. But the reality is, you just said, you still have these images, you still relive this all the time.
Yeah.
You didn't just see that on that day, you've seen it every day since.
Yeah, there's an element that I've got easier with it, and I don't ever want to forget either. And I've been offered therapy. Is it EDMR or something like that?
Something to do with the eyes,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. And to deal with PTSD. But there's a weird thing in me that it gives me comfort in a weird way that I don't want to forget.
I understand that.
I feel that I'm being disrespectful. I don't know. I can't. It makes sense in my head.
It makes sense to me, because although it's the most traumatic thing you will ever probably have to experience in your life, it was also your last moments that his heart was still beating, or trying to beat. And it's, you just want to cling on to every last memory. And I don't think that's wrong or crazy or weird. I think that's just a parent just trying to hold on to whatever they can.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm the same when I spoke to other parents that have been there when their child's passed away, and they've felt the same. And what you said about the out-of-body experience, again, I can relate to that, because it is like you're there, but it's as if something else is taking over you, whilst, you know, you can't explain it, can you? There's not really, out-of-body experience doesn't even cut it. It's just the most bizarre feeling of doing what you think you need to do, whilst knowing that the most heartbreaking thing is happening right in front of you. And that's something no one should ever have to see someone they love in that situation.
Yeah. No, it's. I think as well, you're rushed with adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and shock. You know, I was actually sick myself. Like I just couldn't, like, I couldn't breathe properly. Yeah, it's the most traumatic situation I think I'm ever going to be in. Yeah, so he was taken to Basildon Hospital. Unfortunately, had a cardiac arrest at home, cardiac arrest in the ambulance, and his pulse was extremely weak, and then got him to hospital. I can't believe that they actually even did a COVID test on him, which just blew my mind. It's like, why are you, like, they're waiting for a COVID test? Like, yeah, just very, very odd.
They were strange times.
They were very strange times. So Mark wasn't actually at home on that day. He's been looking after his mother because she just had a hip replacement. So she was convalescing and all that. So they were taking it turns. So he unfortunately got that horrible phone call. So the police got him and rushed him up to the hospital with us. And then one of the specialists came in to us and said, there's nothing more that we can do here, but we'd like to get him to St Mary's as quickly as possible because they've got more specialist equipment and stuff. The scan showed that he had hypoxic brain injury, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but basically Basildon couldn't do any more. So a couple of hours, we were waiting for the specialist team. They came. They were saying if Isaac has another cardiac arrest, we may not resuscitate. And I said, you will resuscitate. He's 13. You know, if anyone can like fight this, he will fight it. So his blood pressure was just shocking, really, really low. And we were just fixated on this machine that beeps. And
you do,
I was just watching it
with these heart monitor, you know, that are doing blood pressure, heart rhythm, like everything you do, you transfix.
Yeah.
On.
And if something goes out of kilter, you're like, what's happened? What's happened? So yeah, that was the longest journey from hell, from that hospital to London. Just felt like it was forever.
How long did that take?
So it was from Basildon to Paddington, so probably about less than an hour. But there was roadworks. Yes, me and Mark were in the ambulance, just fixated on like him, stroking his hair. So yes, we got to Paddington. They rushed him in straight away, and just they were fantastic. Really, like they were working on him continuously. Very rarely any of them left the room. If they did, it was a changeover. So basically, the next day they said like Isaac's organs are failing. He's not responding. We've like given him more stuff that actually he should be responding to. His pupils weren't dilating. He was changing in front of us in a way that where there's so much fluids and that, and it was very bizarre. He just was looking different. And then when they said like, you know, unfortunately there's nothing else we can do, we called up my dad, we called up because Emily was staying at a friend's house. So they all came up. Again, it's just like a blur, just like people coming in and out. And then we had this family liaison lady called Helen. She came in and she was just like, I don't know, like sent from above. She's like this angel. She just came in and she was just so calm. She just got everything for us. Even, like, we didn't eat, we didn't drink, but she got everything in for us, fruit, juices, anything we wanted. She was there, you know, just brilliant. And that was from a charity called Cosmic. They deal with babies and children under the age of 18 for parents going through children in intensive care. And then, unfortunately, we lost Isaac at 3:41 on the 9th of March. We laid with him. It was just sorry.
Naturally, or was it a decision that had to be made?
That we collectively, like, because they said like he's not going to get better because he's got organ failure. So they removed everything, and it took about 40 minutes, something like that, and then he'd gone. It was just, my little boy is just gone, you know. And it's almost like you felt like, come on, Isaac, stop looking about now. Come on. But yeah, it's just the most awful couple of days. And then coming home, like the dynamics, like we went as were four, and was leaving from that hospital was 3. You know, the dynamics within 24 hours gone.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you lose someone that's an integral part of your home, everything changes.
Yeah, I mean,
you lose so much.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, Isaac wasn't an extremely loud person, but you knew he was in the room. You know, typical boy. But that house was deafening. Like the silence was really loud, if that makes sense.
I get that.
Yeah, it was like too much to deal with.
And I think this is one thing about grief, is it's both deafening and silent at the same time. Because you can have the trauma replaying in your head and you just want it to shut up. But then also the silence can just seem too much as well, because you want to hear their voice.
Yeah.
And it's just a daily battle. And whilst you're battling that, all of a sudden you're thrown into having to plan a funeral. How did you find that?
Completely bizarre, wrong. No one should be planning their children's funeral. You know, the natural path of life is, even how sad and hard it is, losing a parent or a grandparent, but to a child that hasn't had an illness, hasn't been hit by a car, it's just been taken away with no logical reasoning, and you're sitting in front of someone choosing caskets and like music, and like, hang on a minute, this is not computing, you know. We were in no state of mind to planning a funeral.
That's the hard thing, isn't it? You're having to make decisions that you can never change at a time when your brain isn't even working properly.
Yeah, it was, that day again was just awful. Like, my dad was extremely poorly at that point as well, and he was on really heavy medication, and bless him, he said, no, I'm not missing out, I need to be here, So he came up and attended Isaac's funeral. And Isaac's 3 friends read out a lovely eulogy. So proud of them. It must be so hard, like losing their bestie. And I only wanted people there that actually knew Isaac. I didn't want people that have not had anything to do with him in his life. Unfortunately, that's a lot of my family that just dropped off the radar. Once my mum passed away, they literally just sort of scattered, and then hardly saw them. And then I thought, right, no, how hard or harsh it seems, I'm not going to have people that didn't have a part in Isaac's life. So the people that were there meant they knew him, and it was very meaningful for us. We had school friends, we had teachers, we had close my friends, Mark's family, you know, so it was very small. I think it was about 50, 60 people. But yeah, it was, again, it shouldn't have had to happen. It shouldn't have happened.
No.
Shouldn't have happened.
And then you're trying to decide on what music to play and where to have a wake. And like, I remember for me, when I went to sign the death certificate, it's like, what? And I remember walking into the place just like, I don't know if I'm in the right place. I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. And because Declan wasn't a student and he didn't have a paid job, when it said occupation, they were going to leave it. And I was like, no. Dec was trying to change people's perception on those with disabilities via TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And they said, should we put content creator then? I was like, yes, because that is what Dec was doing. And like then I had the council contact me to say that they were now it was going to be a single occupancy household, so I would get a reduction or something. And I wanted to say, no, I'll still pay for deck, because there's all of a sudden everyone's telling you that your child's gone and what you need to be doing, whilst
Just
you're
processing.
Yeah, you're still processing it, which I'm not even 2 years down the line, and I think maybe we will always be processing, because we're trying to process something that is just not natural.
Yeah. I remember it took us, well, ages and ages to actually like look at his bank account, take the the phone line down off his mobile, and because it's another little bit gone.
Exactly.
You're sort of peeling away this little onion, and like the layers are going.
And it's what people don't talk about, and it's those little things that can really hurt. I remember not long ago getting a letter from Specsavers.
Oh, I had Specsavers call me up the other week, and I saw the number. I didn't know it was Specsavers. It was an 01268 number, which is our local number, and I just thought, oh, I'll answer it.
Yeah.
And then when they said, oh, it's Specsavers, can I speak to the parent or guardian to Isaac Hennivan? I was like, can you take Isaac off your list, please? And she was like, oh, okay. And I just put the phone down. I just thought, I really didn't expect that phone call.
Yeah.
Just like, and when it all first happened, anyone like, I actually changed my hairdressers because I couldn't bear the thought of going in, because she always talked about my family, and I just thought I could not bear her to ask me about Isaac. If anything had to be done in the house, I wouldn't call the person that would normally come. I'd call someone that's got no.
It's crazy how you change the way you live, because some things are just too hard. I can't go in Dec's favourite cafe, because to go in and not order a sausage sandwich that they would always cut into triangles, because since Dec was a kid, that's how he liked it. I just can't do it. I can't go down the road that he died on. It's like this. But then there's other things, like I drive his van, the actual place he died in.
Yeah.
It's crazy what we can do, what we can't do.
There's no rhyme or reason, is there?
There's not, because
So-
we're just trying to survive.
Yeah, that is it. We are just trying to survive, and I think the reasoning, like what I'm doing now, is because I'm, myself and Holly have this little motto: we're turning pain into purpose. Because I can't just sit back and accept what's happened. It's I'm doing it for Isaac, and I'm doing it for all the other children, and no longer here, sadly. And so that's my mission. I promised Isaac when I visited him in the Chapel of Rest, I said, there's two things I'm going to do. I'm going to look after Emily, I promise you that. And I will keep fighting to find out what happened. Because I didn't know what happened. They took all his devices, and it took, so March, April, May. So May, June time, the police came back and found that Isaac had been filming himself passing out, getting some euphoria.
And what was the reasoning behind that? Where did he even get that idea from?
Well, this is it. So on TikTok, it's been well documented back from 2015. There's a challenge called Blackout Challenge. Unfortunately, lots of kids have lost their lives through it, and it is still happening. But TikTok are claiming that these aren't on their platforms, on their platform. But there's different variations of it. Now, we can't get to Isaac's data. So what happened was, the police found 3 weeks before Isaac's passing, he'd filmed himself passing out. And so the police took that as enough evidence, and they didn't search any further back. That was it. They didn't bother to be searching on TikTok. They didn't approach any of the social media platforms. So Isaac has got it from somewhere, or someone. Someone has seen this through a social media platform. Boys being boys, Isaac is highly inquisitive.
Yeah.
He is a little bit of a sheep. If someone's doing something, he will do it. It was all very innocent with TikTok back in COVID times with the lockdown. You had the floss, you had the bucket challenge, the silly dances,
Yeah.
the bottle flip, you know. So Isaac did all that.
Yeah.
Did all that. And we saw no reasoning that there was a concern that he had TikTok at that point because his sister had it. We didn't see anything sinister on it. So yeah, I think that at some point he has been shown it, because he does mention in one of the videos a name, but we can't hear it. The police couldn't pick up the name. So he has definitely been influenced by a TikTok challenge.
So on that day, the most likely thing that happened was whilst you're downstairs cooking dinner, he's just doing a TikTok challenge without any fear of what could happen.
Because he'd survived
Yeah.
all these other times, you know.
I know you've mentioned he just used his school tie and a
Yeah.
radiator. Like two very innocent objects in what he thought was a very innocent, non-fatal act.
Because why would he think there was danger in it? Because he survived it, and you know, we've asked his friends and they said that they haven't done it, and like, you know, so I believe them. I really do, because they're very, very mature boys. But it angered us when we saw those videos in the inquest that Isaac was coming around and almost laughing, you know. He didn't see those dangers, so that the anger kicks in. It's like, what the hell was you doing? What do you think was going to be the outcome?
I suppose ultimately we are talking about a child. And logic goes out the window when you're a child.
Yeah, we've all done silly things
yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah, we think we know better than adults for a start.
Yeah.
And if he's seeing other people doing it and getting a high out of it, and then he's done it before, it's remembering in all of this, you've got a child's brain trying to navigate life, and something that he thought was innocent ended up being far from it.
Yeah. And you know, sadly, Isaac is not the only one. You know, I'm involved with other parents. You know,
to your knowledge, in the UK, how many children has this happened to? Because I know that even recently it's still happening.
Yeah, there was a boy last week. So obviously you've got myself, you've got Holly, you've got Ellen, you've got Liam, this other child. I mean, a lot of them don't go public. A lot of them you don't see in the media. So I reckon there's more than 20 odd, more, and it shouldn't be happening. And it's all the most frightening thing is the ones I've just mentioned all happened in 2022, and we're all the same sort of ages. Isaac 13, Archie 12, Maya 14, Jules 14, I believe.
So this is girls and boys.
Yeah, but it's predominantly boys, because boys, they love danger. They love the thrill of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I think what happened through lockdown, a lot of it came down to boredom as well, and I think that's affected a lot of children. You know, mentally, social wise, like children are they just can't interact with each other properly. They must have this hand grenade contact.
Yes.
You know, it's
This is it. Phones can be just that, a hand grenade.
Yeah.
Because as parents, you can't control what they're watching. You can try.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can
to
do everything.
put different parental controls on, but kids are clever. They're a lot more clever than we are when it comes to technology. They can get around things.
Yeah, they can change the VPNs. They can.
You see, already you're talking about things
I don't even know what.
understand.
Yeah, it's only through learning, through like this journey that you know. I found out recently that a majority of children have 2 Instagram accounts, one for friends, one for family. So
Interesting.
yeah, and that's what my daughter has. She has 2, but she's she came out of the other side just in time about what's happening now with kids. Like she's 19 now, and she knows if she's been on her phone for too long, she goes, oh, and she puts it away and she goes cold turkey. But she uses her phone a lot for her educational wise for what she's doing as well. But the driving force at the moment with children having mobile phones under the age of 16, they don't need them. It's, you know, their brains are not fully developed till about the age of 25. You know, like you said, they're trying to...
Did we? Because remember back in the day, you would, I feel old now, but if you wanted, you would either go to your friend's house and knock on the door.
Yeah.
Can such and such come out to play? You'd ring the home phone. So therefore you got to know your friend's parents. So, you know, the safety in the parents knew each other. You know, they knew where you would be. You didn't need phones to do that. There was communication as a community almost.
Yeah.
Whereas now, children very rarely even know their friends' parents because it's all just done on their phone.
Yeah.
There's no face-to-face interaction.
And that's the sad thing as well. When my two were little, we always instilled it into them. Always be polite to adults. Always say your pleases and thank yous. Sit nicely at the table. And we used to get comments now and again when we used to go to restaurants. Oh, and your children well behaved, you know. And they had colouring books back then. Like, but now, if you go into a restaurant, my goodness, everyone is like this, like just glued. Or a little baby has got a mobile phone in its hand. It should be looking out at the trees and looking what's going on around them. That's where they develop.
We are in such a different world now, and I've got young nieces and nephews, and it is scary, the world they're growing up in. But I want to touch on something that you mentioned earlier, that you've also lost your mum. So it seems wrong to just not ask about that. To, you know, this podcast is about grief, and, you know, losing a mum, that's got to be tough too.
Yeah, that at that point was the most traumatic, awful thing that happened. And that was 9 years ago now. So yeah, I'm an only child, so I had to deal with everything, you know. And my mum was one of 13 children, and they're not Irish. Good East End family. But I'm always a doer, so I, wrongly or rightly, I didn't really ask for help. No one really particularly reached out to me, so I just did everything. I had to sort out my mum's house. I just and I think that again, that was a survival mode. It kept me busy. But then when this happened, it was on a different level, completely different level.
And you've then not got your mum there.
But there's another grief as well. I lost my dad as well. I lost my dad last year. Yeah, I lost my dad last year. And again, I was a daddy's girl. Loved my dad implicitly, and like he did absolutely everything in his power to help me if I was having issues. Just the perfect dad. But he lost his battle through cancer, and I've not even grieved for my dad. I cried at the hospital and I cried at his funeral, and that's it. I can't even get there. And to me, I feel again very disrespectful, and I know it will happen organically at some point. It may never, I don't know, but this supersedes everything with Isaac. It's just consumed me. I'm a completely different person. I don't know who I am. I'm floating around just dealing with day-to-day stuff, and that's why I've thrown myself into what I'm doing. I'm like my dad, and my mum was like the same as well. I'm just a doer, and that's my survival.
And you're making some big changes with the way that you're surviving.
Trying.
Yeah. And, you know, please tell me some more about that.
Yeah, I met Holly through our tragedy of losing our boys. And we was messaging each other for quite a while. Obviously, Archie was in hospital, and I never thought that she would reply to me because, God, she was going through. And one day she replied to me, and so we sort of built up some trust via messages, because obviously it's a big thing.
You had already lost Isaac.
Yeah.
By this point.
Yeah.
And then you saw it's happened to another child.
Yeah.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, it was really, really hard. But I was almost not fixated on Archie's story, but I just wanted to like find out like what on earth went on with Archie as well, you know, because
Well, that's understandable.
yeah,
You know,
they're 15, 20 minutes down the road from
yeah.
me.
How can this have happened again?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we built up a little bit of a trust, and then eventually we met September time, I think it was. And then we was brainstorming and saying, like, actually, we should be creating awareness for other parents. We don't want to talk to the children because the children are blimmin' clever.
Yeah.
We need to get to the parents, because parents could be so naive of what's going on. We were the same. We thought we did everything. There was no phones at the dinner table, no phones after 9 o'clock, no phones before you go to school. Gaming only happened at weekends. We felt as a parent we did everything. We taught them the stranger danger stuff. Don't talk to people online you don't know. We did all that. Parental controls, and yet still we're in this position. So we basically brainstorming, and that's what we thought, right, this is what we're going to be doing. This is what we're going to be doing. So anyway, by pure fate, we got invited by Ian Russell. It's a little bit of a blur how we all got together, but we had this small community, if you like, called the Bereaved Families for Online Safety Group. And Ian Russell, who lost Molly Russell many years ago now, again, to social media, created this group, and we got invited to go up to Parliament, and then also we're involved in the online safety and
While you're grieving.
Yeah,
I just want to point out,
this is all happening in 2023. And we're meeting other parents, and like it's the club that no one wants to be in. You know, we've got our little WhatsApp group and everything. So then we're meeting politicians. We're like meeting Baroness Kidron, who is the founder of the Five Rights Foundation, who is the driving force for this fantastic online safety law. It's got its little bits in it, it's not quite right, but you know, it was something in place, and everything was happening. And then we got invited, me and Holly, and our local MP, to an online safety day. And I was sitting next to the CEO of Internet Matters. They're a non-profit company that help parents with parental controls, telling what's like the trends and things, just keeping everyone up to date of what's going on in the world of social media, gaming and stuff like that. So anyway, we just got like talking, and we said, like, we really just want to get into schools because we really want to create awareness. She went, I'm just really like proud of like what you're wanting to do. And we said, like, ideally we'd like to get a film together, but we just don't even know where to start. And she just said, I can help you. We was like, oh. She went, yeah, we'll talk afterwards. So after this little meeting, she said, I want to help you do this film. So we didn't really think anything of it, but then emails started being exchanged, and before we knew it, Internet Matters funded our film, which was amazing.
And you take that film to schools now, don't you?
Yes, we go into schools, we show it to parents. It's a 3.5-minute film. It talks about our boys, what we're doing, and then we talk to parents about our experiences, what we're doing to help change, if they've got any concerns, because we don't pretend to know everything. We're not tech savvy, and that's the majority of those parents. So it's a two-way conversation. It's a bit like me and you. We're just talking casually. If someone's got something they're concerned about and we don't know the answer, we say, like, we'll try and find that out for you. It's normally anything from like 20 minutes to half an hour. It all depends how much the parents want to engage, and the responses we've had has been brilliant.
And how do you, because obviously I've spoke to Holly about this as well, she was on a few episodes ago. For you personally, how does it feel going into those schools, speaking to those parents whose children are still here, and you're talking about what happened to your child?
I feel Isaac's with me every time, and I know if that had happened to one of his friends, he would want to fight for getting change, and I know he would be doing that. I almost remove myself from when I go into schools because, I'm talking about my child is no longer here. So what keeps me focused is that I'm pushing for those parents not to be me standing up there. So I do remove myself, and when some people watch that film and you see them getting upset, or they come up to us and they're giving me a cuddle and like they're crying, and in the end I'm consoling them. In one way, I'm glad they're upset. I'm glad it's affected them, because that's going to make them more hypervigilant.
And also it's your reality. And I think this is the crazy thing. When I've done things, when I've spoken about what happened to Deck, you become detached almost while you're telling the story, because it's so much more than just a story. It's your reality, and for you to be able to go into those schools, you almost have to detach to be able to eloquently share your story.
Yeah, you can't be up there as a blubbering mess. No one's going to be, it's not going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, or your plight.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think the very, very beginning, I think some schools were quite concerned that we would be emotional up there and like quivering lip and like losing it.
Because people do you not find that people assume grieving parents, especially grieving moms, must be neurotic, crying, crazy people. So they avoid you.
Yeah.
And they avoid your child's name.
Yeah.
Like somehow you'll only grieve if they say their name. Not that every minute of every day, Isaac, Deck, and all the other children that, have gone to heaven far too soon, their parents think about them all the time.
Oh yeah, from the moment you wake up, from the moment you go to bed.
And if someone does mention their name or ask you about them, it is the most beautiful gift to give to a grieving parent, because you're saying it's okay to talk about them. But it's like society is now scared of us.
Yeah.
Like we've got leprosy or something. And I found that quite hard, because the time when I feel I need the support is when people have run away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's happened to me. Like none of my family, like my mother's side, has picked up the phone. Nothing. And that hurts, but I've dealt with that now. My family are my close friends, and Mark's family, they've been brilliant, but mine have run for the hills.
Because sometimes I think all you want, and it does not because it's their birthday or because it's Christmas or because it's Mother's Day. Yes, they're extra hard. Every day's hard, and sometimes you want someone to just even send a message and say, "Oh, I've just remembered when Isaac or Declan did this, made me think of you. I just want you to know I've not forgotten you and I've not forgotten them."
Yeah.
Or just something.
Yeah.
That shows you're not alone in this, and that your child still even matters to other people.
Yeah.
And those occasional texts, they can just hold so much love.
Yeah.
When you're feeling so isolated.
I watched something quite a few weeks ago now. It was a grieving dad, actually. And he was saying the worst thing, he said, like, you just really need to think about this. When you say to someone who's just lost a child or a teenager, just anyone, don't just say, call me if you need anything, because they're never going to call you. You are never going to call someone. What you should be doing is knock on their door and
checking in.
If they don't want to answer the door, that's fine, but you've gone to them, not waiting for them to come to you, because they will not, oh, call me if you need anything, oh, let me know, if you want me to get you some food. You're not going to do it.
Because that's it, you don't look after yourself, do you?
Barely breathing. I mean, food was like, again, so irrelevant. Like I don't want to eat. Why should I be eating? Why should I be drinking? Why?
Yeah.
even sleeping, I was thinking, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't actually be sleeping. But then for those little mini seconds when you do nod off and then you wake up and you think that it's all right, and then it just bang, it's right there. I'm a little bit better now, but beforehand, yeah, that was just, I hated going to sleep, hate waking up, just hated everything. I was very angry. I was like, what ifs, could have been, should have beens. You torture yourself. You actually torture yourself.
It's a life sentence.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know, it is a life sentence, and it is something that no parent should ever have to go through.
No.
And there's no, like, yes, there might be a few self-help books out there, but there's no right book for anybody, because we all grieve differently.
No one. And the thing as well, through this unique, if you like, situation with all these children that have gone through social media, no one at the moment, we're working on it with Ofcom, no one at the moment holds your hand through that moment of losing a child, telling you, right, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that, we're going to help you do this, we're going to help. No, you're like left, and you're like, what's just happened? What should I be doing? And then you get the very sort of what's the word I'm thinking of? Phone calls that are very cold and very like
the business-like ones.
Yeah, like they do it every day, but you don't go through it every day.
Exactly, you don't.
You know, I had calls with like the coroner, and like so blatant, and they kept saying death, and I was like, I don't want to keep hearing that word. It was like alarm bells every time, and I was just like, I don't want to hear that word. And they were so methodical about what was going to be happening, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I'm just like a nodding dog, just the motions, and like, I don't know how I got through it. I really don't. But I think the driving force is that I've got my daughter, and I had a purpose that I promised Isaac, and that kept me going. And obviously what I'm doing now.
Because you've not just been to schools, have you? You and Holly and some other parents have been to the US.
Yeah, we've been to, we had the honour of being part of the remembrance through the Archwell Foundation, which is the Duchess and Dutch of Harry and Meghan. Anyway, I don't know what titles they have. And that was extremely emotional.
But that shows for that to exist, there's an issue. Yeah. So there were 52 light boxes. Each of them had the child that's no longer here, and it was done in a mobile phone template. You've got their beautiful faces on there. And so we went out, just walked around. It was on the rooftop gardens in New York. And Meghan and Harry turned up. It's all very, very secretive. It wasn't done for media exposure for them. They were very, very supportive, very, very sensitive. They took time. They took a valid interest. We stood talking to him for about 10 minutes. We met Harry. Declan got this World Child Award, and Harry was there representing the royal family. And he came in, and like, he was talking to Dec about his Lamborghini. He was just a lovely, normal guy.
Yeah.
And that's what we got from him. Everyone will have their own opinion now.
Yeah, but for the cause that we was out there for, yeah, they are doing a massive, brilliant job, a brilliant campaign. And so that, I mean, we was only there 3 nights. It was a bit of a whirlwind. And then we went on a protest outside TikTok's headquarters in New York. Again, very emotional. We're carrying pictures of our children.
And again, it's surreal, isn't it?
It is.
You're trying to be their voice, continue their story, whilst you are still absolutely broken.
Yeah, but
it's weird. It's like, where do you get this strength from?
I know.
It's crackers, isn't it? But somehow we do. And I can only think it's because Isaac, Dec, they're holding our hands.
Yeah,
They must be.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. And you know, we're on another path now where we're 4 other parents. We're actually suing TikTok in Delaware, in America. It's nothing to do with monetary. It is nothing to do with payback. It is getting them to have accountability of what's happened, and for getting them to own up that their product that they produce with the content is not fit for purpose. Because
that's the key thing here, isn't it?
Because I can go on TikTok now, and I did it yesterday. There are challenges up there doing the thing that Isaac is no longer here. And that is an insult.
And we're talking 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
And that it's still there.
We're getting all this evidence, we're building it all up. Obviously, TikTok have got the most powerful attorneys, lawyers.
But the difference is you've got the power of the passion.
Yeah, we won't stand down. Yeah.
Which their solicitors do not have. And that's something that you and all the other parents have. And that is that's super strong.
Yeah. I think we've got a good team behind us. I mean, the team in Delaware, they're actually specialise in it. They're called social media victims law firm. And the lawyer we've got, she's amazing. She's very passionate. She's got children herself. She is fully invested, and we've got a lot of faith in her. So yeah, it's going to be a long road. I mean, you can imagine TikTok are going to drag their heels through all this, but we just want accountability. We just want them to go like, you know what, we're really, really sorry.
Yeah.
But when they keep coming out with this corporate bullshit that they don't have
and
this stuff.
What hurts,
yes.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, down below in my description, there's going to be links to everything you've mentioned, all the different things that you're involved in, how people can follow your journey and the journey of other people that have lost their children through TikTok. And I want to just take a minute to remember each and every one of them, because none of this should be happening and it shouldn't have happened. So my heart goes to all of you parents that have happened to experience that. And I just thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, Isaac's legacy in the back of Dec's van. I know it's a hard thing to do, to let that raw emotion of what actually happened. But hopefully we've also been able to shine a light on Isaac, Isaac's life and Isaac's legacy, and what a courageous mom you are to be using your voice to create some good.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing that story with us.
Thank you.
Before we close, I want to share something personal with you. Some of you may already know that I was Declan's only parent. This time of the year is especially hard, as it's coming up to his 2-year anniversary and then also his 27th birthday. Because grief is tricky and I want to honour Declan in the way he deserves, I'll be taking some time out from the functioning grief stuff, but this is far from me stepping away from it. It's just listening to my own advice and taking care of myself, so that when I return with more stories of love, loss and legacy, I can do it with the care and energy that it needs. The podcast will be back in late October with new episodes, but you can still listen to previous episodes on the functioning grief stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to be trying to tick off some things from Dec's bucket list, and you can follow this on his social media at Dec's Rolling Bucket List. So please stay connected, keep sending me those emails, those comments, and thank you for being part of this journey with me. This podcast is in honour of my son Declan, and for anyone out there who's lost someone they love, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and I hope in some small way this helps you feel a little less alone. Keep your heart safe until next time, and don't forget to follow or subscribe. Your support helps keep this podcast going.